very nervous.
It's okay to be nervous. It's your first time.
Ooh.
It is your first time, right?
Yes, you know it is, Frank.
I know, I can tell. I've done this hundreds of times.
I don't know how to take that, Frank.
This is special.
Is it?
It is. Slow!
What?
Oh, you can't do it like that. That's way too hard.
Would you like me to give it a wiggle?
Yes.
Absolutely not.
Yes.
I could pop round the back and give it a once-over.
No, we're good.
Okay.
Welcome, everybody. You are getting Lost in Plot, the show where we focus on story first, but not exclusively, across the mediums of film, television, video games, really anything with a story. I'm Wade, that's my brother Jake, and today we have for you Disney's Jungle Cruise. Now we're going to go get lost in plot. We're going to spoil everything about this, so fair warning, here we go. Dr. Lily Houghton travels from London to the Amazon jungle, where she enlists the questionable services of Frank Wolf to guide her downriver on L'Aquila, his ramshackle but charming boat, to uncover an ancient tree with unparalleled healing properties. So this is set during World War I. Emily Blunt has found an artifact that's going to find the location of a magical healing tree. She hires The Rock as her guide, brings along Jack Whitehall as her dandy brother, and the rest is derivative treasure hunting formula. They are chased by the Germans, they are hunted by cursed conquistadors, and by the end of it, you'll be hard-pressed to remember what they were searching for and why. And really, no one gives a shit, because there are no stakes. Maybe you wonder whether The Rock is going to end up with a woman in a three-piece suit at the end of the film. Well, good news, bro. Disney is more than happy to answer that question for you on their Jungle Cruise.
You're right. There were no stakes in this movie.
No stakes.
Then when you thought there might be stakes, they got rid of those stakes too, right? And it's true. We are being chased by the Germans again.
The Germans are
You
after
have
us.
the rote German bad guy that you have to have in these types of movies. Again,
They're
is
not
on
the Nazis,
full
because it's set
display.
during World War I, but it's the same damn thing.
Don't
The
you
magical-
call him a Nazi? Because he's not.
He's not.
He pretends to be, and he's
The
basically
son
the
of
same
the
thing.
Kaiser? The Kaiser Wilhelm?
It's the Kaiser.
It's the magical petals, what is it, the Tears of the Moon? Is that
Tears
what
of the
they're
Moon.
called?
We have a tree that is going to heal you. But for some unknown reason, it's really hard to find and really hard to unlock, and that's what we're chasing after.
And that can turn the tide of the Great War. If the Kaiser's son gets it, he's going to take over. If Emily Blunt gets it, she's just going to heal everybody on the planet, apparently.
We love Emily Blunt.
So those stakes, if you can call them stakes, vanish right away. We really don't care, and we're grasping for anything else we can find. So let's talk about the three guys that gave us so much and so little at the same time with Who Wrote This?
That's right. Now, say my name.
So you saw their names. We've got Michael Green, Glenn Ficarra, and John Requa. Those are our three credited writers on Disney's Jungle Cruise. So let's have a look at the notable credits and start with the pair of Glenn Ficarra and John Requa. So we start way back in 2001. So these gentlemen have been around for a while in the industry with the family film Cats and Dogs. I never saw that one. Did you see
No,
that?
I was thinking it would be The Truth About Cats and Dogs, which I did see, but no.
Very
I didn't
different
see this
movie.
one. Yeah.
Cats and Dogs is when they're like fighting each other, and it's animated, I think.
I never would have guessed that, based on the title.
Anyway, an abrupt about face after that, because 2 years later we're doing Bad Santa with Billy Bob Thornton.
That's right, perverted Billy Bob in his Santa suit.
Yeah, that one inspired a lot of laughs. They're coming in an audience score of an 8.8, very high, and you understand why. I mean, I was laughing when I watched that one too.
You get some good laughs there.
From there, more recently, they did the Will Smith con man pick with Margot Robbie called Focus in 2015. I hated that one. I didn't like it.
I avoided that one
And
altogether.
You didn't see it at all.
Altogether.
You avoid the suffering.
Yep.
You're good at that. Now let's switch gears to another guy that's been around in the industry forever and done seemingly everything. Michael Green. He's got some TV credits at the bottom there that we can start with. American Gods, that's the newer one that's on Starz. That one is still going. He wrote for Heroes, he wrote for Smallville. He did the big screen adaptation of Green Lantern in 2011, the Ryan Reynolds
boy.
Green Lantern.
Big properties here. Heroes, Smallville, those are big time shows at the time. And then
Huge properties. And we're not done there, because after Green Lantern, he checks in with Logan, the fan favorite Wolverine, the final one in the Wolverine series. Audience score of an 8.4.
I didn't like it. I have it way down at a 4. Logan didn't do it for me. That's not what I look for in a Wolverine film. I've never wanted to go back and watch that one again, but I understand I'm in the vast minority, it would appear.
Well, I'm in that same circle with you. I did not care for Logan one bit.
After Logan, we find him again with another 2017 film, Blade Runner 2049. So I enjoyed Blade Runner 2049. I thought it looked good. I thought it was well directed.
The fans liked it too. I am a huge fan of the original Blade Runner, and I think that was to the detriment of Blade Runner 2049 because to me it just didn't measure up.
Fair enough. And then more recently again, Murder on the Orient Express with Johnny Depp. That's the adaptation of the mystery novel. It's a pretty good holiday film if I remember when it came out. I thought it was good. It's coming in at a 6.4 from the audience. I have it at a 6, so
yeah,
that's
breezy,
about on par.
breezy kind of mystery movie. It's a 6 for me too. I enjoyed seeing it in the theater.
Okay, now if you toss out Cats and Dogs and Green Lantern, the lowest on the list is Jungle Cruise, the one that we're talking about right now. So it sounds like audiences are not too hot for this one. Thoughts on that?
Well, I've got plenty of thoughts. Let's get to them, shall we? Well, if it looks like Indiana Jones and it sounds like Indiana Jones, it must be Disney's latest pile of shit. My one thing for Disney's Jungle Cruise is imitation filmmaking, an unfortunate modern trend in which our contemporary filmmakers spend all of their time impersonating the directors of yesteryear when they were making their seminal works. They borrow, steal, and rip off the characters, storylines, and aesthetics of classic works, chop them up into these modern offerings, and hope that we, the viewer, will be none the wiser. I guess the bet is that you'll either be too young that you haven't seen the classic movies, so you think this is the real deal, or you'll be old enough to have seen those movies, and the nostalgia will overpower your smooth brain to the point that you convince yourself you actually like the raging dumpster fire being foisted into your lap. This film wants to be part Indiana Jones, part Pirates of the Caribbean, and ends up being a cheap imitation of both. It is cynical corporate cash grabbery at its finest. We're going to make a movie based on a Disney theme park ride with 2 likable leads, a plot that is mere pretext to get them romping through the jungle so we can bore you with pitiful CGI action scenes, and then at the end, we're going to give you some good progressive social finger wagging at crusty old white men, because why the hell not? Well, the problem with imitation filmmaking is that it invites viewers to make unfavorable comparisons between those classic movies and the reheated leftovers they're being served now. A discerning viewer might ask, why don't I just go back and watch those old movies? Well, the answer is you probably should, and the makers of this film, in their honest moments, would probably tell you the same thing.
I had the same thought, and I wondered to myself, why did those old films have such gravitas to them and have such power? Like when you watch Raiders of the Lost Ark, you feel like he's in danger when he's going for those idols and those booby traps, because you see the 2 guides that he's with in that film die right at the beginning, and that's what's missing from this film. You never think anyone's in danger. Even when they're dying, they're not really dying. Even when they're dead, they're cursed and they're still alive.
The Rock gets stabbed through the heart with a sword and survives it. Where have your stakes gone for the rest of the film? If he can survive that, and that happens, midway through, before we get the little reveal about who Frank really is, which was
exactly
just
midway
awful,
through, I think, yeah.
Awful. And then how are there stakes throughout the rest of the film? What personal stakes does Dr. Lily Holton, who's played brilliantly by Emily Blunt, what personal stakes does she have to be out there romping through the jungle?
None. I kept wondering, I was like, what the hell is she doing out here? She's going to get the flower, and what the hell is she going to do with it? I don't know. Why does she care? But hey, who cares about stabbing him through the heart and he's dead when you can play that for cheesy innuendo? Little dirty innuendo there.
Bite down on my stick.
Pop around the back and wiggle it a little.
Give me a break. What are you doing with this nonsense? Who's this movie for?
I don't know.
You couldn't tell, right?
It
looked like, at times, it's like, okay, you're selling this to kids, so I'll forgive you. But then you have these mature moments come in, and you're just like, what are you guys doing?
It's PG-13. Did you realize that?
No, I
thought
didn't
it was
realize
PG the entire time I'm watching. I'm just like, why is this PG-13? Why should it even be PG-13? I couldn't tell you. But, yeah, I mean, those other films that it's trying to rip off, as you put it, Raiders of the Lost Ark, Temple of Doom, all of those.
Dead Man's Chest with the cursed bad guys, just like
There's no
Davy Jones' locker.
There's no kind of feeling of peril at any time, where you always feel that for Indiana Jones, even though you know nothing's going to happen to him. You feel that peril and that terror, and the reason is they always have to pull back. You can't even have natives that would kill you for trespassing in their land in this. No. We can't make native indigenous people seem like they would murder you. Never!
That'd never happen.
Never! Not even if you came into their land and took out their most valuable sacred idols and things that they worship. They'd never hurt you. It's all a big con. It's all a big fake.
Yeah,
They're all in on the plan.
This is our modern sensibilities run amok, and we're trying. I know the studio really would love to make another Indiana Jones, so it's trying.
They are?
But you know what? This is a modern trend that
They are
I
making
find.
another.
Well, don't tell me about that. But this is a modern trend that I really hate. You're a director. You have talent. You're being given a huge budget. Go make your movie. Don't sit there and like say, oh, okay, now I guess I have to pretend to be Steven Spielberg. Like, what are you doing? J.J. Abrams like pioneered this. Like, I'm going to direct in the mode of another director to give you this nostalgia thing. Like, it's awful, and it needs to stop. And it's cynical, and it's a cash grab. It's just, ugh.
This boat goes on charm and nothing else. That's why you had The Rock and Emily Blunt. And I'm glad you made
Likeable
that point.
leads, yeah.
Emily Blunt, she is likable. Because I had the thought, maybe 10, 15 minutes in, that I would hate this character, Dr. Lily Howard, whatever it is, if it was played by anybody
Anyone
else.
yeah.
But because Emily Blunt, I like Emily Blunt, she's so charming and likable in it, she gets a pass. And like, the more I think about the character, it's like, oh, she only wears pants. She always tells people what to do. She doesn't need any help from anybody else. You know, she's an awful character, and I don't even know if she changes. Does she change? I was looking in there for any semblance of change for her character from the beginning into the end, and the only scene I could find was when she's talking to The Rock, and she's talking about helping the entire world with her petals from the tree. And he says, well, if I found one person worth helping, that would be world enough for me. And that's the realization she comes to in the end, because she has the petal, and then she gives it to him instead of taking it back to London to give it to the rest of the world and heal everybody and win World War I. No, give it to that old conquistador.
That's right, and that's good analysis. It's obviously what I think they were going for, but you couldn't have less screen chemistry than these two had, in my opinion. And I like both of them individually in their own right, but together...
It was weird, wasn't it?
Together trying to sell a romance?
Yeah.
Like, forget it.
And the very first scene, you see Emily Blunt, and she's wearing a dress. The first time we meet her. Then as the rest of the film goes on, she's in pants. That's the nickname The Rock gives her, pants. And then at the end of the film, she's in a three-piece suit with a top hat. Like, it's just bizarre looking. Like, what are we saying with that?
I don't know what we're saying with that, but I don't know what we're going to say in this next segment, Dead or Alive, but let's get to it
I think
and
we're
find
gonna
out
say something.
where we're headed.
Dead or Alive. Back for Dead or Alive, it's Disney's Jungle Cruise. Do you want to go first?
And it's dead! It is dead! This was a terrible movie. It tortured me. It offended me. It was a waste of my time. It's dead, and it's a 3 out of 10. I did not enjoy my time with Disney's Jungle Cruise. I felt I was being manipulated the entire way through. It was a pitiful attempt to try and get one of those old-fashioned adventure movies that I think we all desperately do want. And I'm willing to forgive a heck of a lot when you have charming leads and it's set at an exotic location and it's based on a Disney ride that I've been on myself and have fond memories of. I wanted to like this. You made me not like it. It was a joke. And one of the worst things about it was the extended exposition scene where we reveal Frank to be one of the long-lost cursed conquistadors who's been wandering around the river and its tributaries for nigh on 300 years. This was such a baloney moment, and the exposition went on forever, and it was just absolute hackery from start to finish in this movie.
It's far too safe. It's far too derivative. It's okay to be derivative sometimes if you say something new with it.
Yeah, steal from the best. You'll get away with it if you give us enough original of your
Give us a new
own, or
twist.
spin it, or do your own take. Don't just try to recreate it. For what? For the feels? For the nostalgia? Piss off.
Piss off indeed. It's dead for me as well. I'm giving it a 4 out of 10. A little bit more generous. I wasn't as
good for
pissed
you.
off as you are. Still, a 4 out of 10 is dead. This was not good. This was imitation art all the way. There was nothing significant, nothing new, unique, nothing interesting. This was, as you put it, a cash grab based on the names above the billboard and nothing else. There was really no message here. There were no change and nothing of significance for any of the characters. And something I really hate that films and TV shows are doing now is when they are worried about their film, maybe they don't know if it's really good or they think it might be a little weak in areas, then they wrap it up in the ideology of the day. And they give you that kind of tacked-on message. It's just like, and then feminism. Yeah, those crusty British men. They're just terrible, aren't they?
You're right. I mean, it's a
And
perfunctory
they hope
social
that
message.
makes them, somewhat bulletproof, somewhat okay. It's just like, okay, yeah, I mean, this wasn't good, but at least you fell on the right side of history there, so we'll give you a pass. They think it gives them a pass. It absolutely doesn't give you a pass. Garbage is garbage. Shit is shit. And that's what we had here out of the Jungle Cruise. It should have been a fun family film. Why is it PG-13? I still don't know.
Why is it Disney and it's so cynical? Why should we care about the story when the people who made this movie don't care about the story? They really don't. They want to add all these disparate elements, put it together in this Frankenstein monster, and all they care about is that you paid to come see it. They don't care if they gave you something unique, original, exhilarating, or exciting. They're not making movies for the joy of making movies. They're making this movie for the bottom line, to get your money, and they can't even do a good job hiding that. From Walt Disney! When you wish upon a star, follow your dreams. Walt Disney! Is this cynical that this is the type of offering, this is the effort that they foist upon an unsuspecting public? Come on! How far have you fallen? Disgraceful.
This is one that evaporates from your mind as soon as you get out of your seat, maybe out of the auditorium, it's just gone. The other weird thing was, did you notice that they had the Metallica song at the beginning and through certain parts?
And during the awful exposition,
They used it as
phase
a
two.
through theme in the story. It's like, it made no sense.
Yeah.
So much of this makes no sense. Poor script, poor generic script. It just followed the best beats of everything, those films that came before it in the past, and I don't think we have to waste any more words on this one.
No, I don't think we do. But guys, what do you think about Disney's Jungle Cruise? Do you find some kind of redeeming merit to this movie that we might have overlooked? Please let us know in the comments down below. If you like this video, please leave us a thumbs. And if you really like this video, consider it a subscription, because we will see you all coming up on the next one.